How's it going? My name is Jordan Beckford with B Tactical Defense. I'm here to outline for you all um, areas of District of Columbia where you can and can't carry, right? When it comes to the District of Columbia concealed carry license, a lot of people mention how, oh, it's not worth it. You can't carry anywhere in DC, right? And a lot of times, those are individuals who are talking from a perspective of might not of maybe not understanding the landscape of the District of Columbia, right? Maybe not understanding the landscape or rather geography of the District of Columbia, right? Right. Maybe not understanding the geography, right? So all this highlighted green, right? All this highlighted green is going to be federal land. That's going to be areas where you can't carry, right? You're just going to want to be aware of these locations, right? A lot of these parks you see here, right? A lot of these parks, right, are going to be areas where you can't carry, right? Now, I do want to throw out that there are some more specific areas where you're not allowed to carry. Obviously, hospitals being one of them. Schools, whether public or private, are going to be areas you can't carry also. But on top of schools, right, on top of schools is also the parking lots adjacent to those schools are generally used by those private or public schools as well. All right. And then around this observatory lane area, or observatory circle rather, in lane, right, is going to be a location we can't carry. And obviously the National Mall and its memorials can't carry in those locations also. Another thing I want to throw out there is we can't carry in areas where alcohol is sold or served and consumed. Also areas in relative to the alcohol consumption or areas that sell alcohol. Now you can carry if you end up at a tasting event, a small sample tasting event, an area where the location has a temporary liquor license, or an area where the location is just catering, right? Catering alcohol per se, right? So keep that in mind about the District of Columbia, right? Keep that in mind about the District of Columbia. A lot of people feel, oh, it's not worth it. You can't carry anywhere in DC. Well, you see all of this highlighted green section being federal land and property, right? And there's a lot of, blank space here that isn't highlighted. So there's a lot of areas in the District of Columbia you can carry, but there are some areas you cannot. And what this is about being informed about those locations, right? Being informed about those locations, and where you reside predominantly and what your intention of traveling to the District of Columbia is, right? I want to highlight some specific things within the prohibitions of carrying a firearm in the District of Columbia. Obviously, you can't carry in buildings or offices occupied by the District of Columbia's agencies and instrumentalities, right? A hospital, right? Mental health or medical facility, or any office that are providing those services predominantly. Juvenile or penal systems, or penal institutions, polling places, public transportation, metro rail, including Uber and Lyft. We talked about the whole alcohol facet, stadiums and arenas, right? Special gathering events like street festivals, right? But you can't be prosecuted unless if there's proper signage that says that no guns allowed, or that there is an event happening. And if there is a law enforcement officer there that tells you you need to leave, or remove the firearm and secure it in a respective location, right? You can't carry in the National Mall along the Tidal Basin, or on the U.S. Capitol building, or within including U.S. Capitol buildings and grounds, White House complex, including the roadway of the area bounded by Constitution Avenue Northwest, 15th Street Northwest, H Street Northwest, and 17th Street Northwest. And we talked about the observatory, the Naval Observatory, right? And its fence line, including areas from the perimeter of its fence line up to and including the curb of the adjacent sidewalk touching the roadway of Observatory Circle, from Calvert Street Northwest to Massachusetts Avenue Northwest, and Observatory Circle to the far corner of Observatory Lane, right? So those are going to be some of the specific locations where you can and can't carry within the District of Columbia. And while that might seem like a lot, right, and also when you include the federal highways, or rather roadways within the District of Columbia as well. But generally, I'd recommend you be moving. District of Columbia defines moving as moving away from those areas if you're going to be carrying within these areas that you're not allowed. You should be moving away from these areas or secure or unload your firearm. All right. So again, there's a lot of people who feel you can't carry in DC. It's not worth carrying. There's a lot of locations you can't carry. But based on this breakdown, I'd say that District of Columbia's concealed carry permit is best for individuals who are residents of DC, reside in DC, are going to be generally outside of more of the touristy areas within DC. But like I said, there are locations where you can carry in the District of Columbia. So keep that in mind as well. If you want to look at this map for yourself, I say go visit dc.gov. And they have an open data system that allows you to intuitively and interactively engage with the mapping of DC so that you can see where the federal property is. You can see based on the prohibitions where you can and can't carry, right? Obviously, some of the schools aren't labeled here, right? Some of the schools aren't labeled here, but, we generally, know what those schools look like within District of Columbia. The last thing I want to go over before we cap this off is, some people say, only thing District of Columbia is good for, for non-residents is the DC concealed carry reciprocity, right? And DC concealed carry reciprocity is great, right? Shout out to the USCCA for providing us this here. But all this yellow and green is going to be locations where you can carry with a DC concealed carry. And it's important to note that DC concealed carry is shall issue, meaning if you apply, they will issue it within a period of 90 days, right? Or a little bit longer, depending on how they're feeling, right? And if you are a District of Columbia resident with a District of Columbia concealed carry, you can then apply for the PA concealed carry, which is simply just setting up a time to visit their court office and taking your DC concealed carry with you, and then they'll issue you a PA concealed carry same day. And let's take a look at PA concealed carry reciprocity. What does that give us? Wow. So that area, right? That area of availability in terms of our ability to carry really expanded here, right? So now we can carry North Carolina, right? Now we can carry North Carolina in a lot of areas of the South, and these are areas that are typical for you to drive to as individuals within the East Coast, right? So to keep that in mind, right, when it comes to reciprocity relative to the District of Columbia and how you can leverage it for the purposes of concealed carrying. And some people say, hey, I want Utah, right? I want Utah's concealed carry, right? To Utah's concealed carry, because that's going to let me carry everywhere, right? Everywhere you want to, right? But, when we really look at the differences between what you'll get with Pennsylvania and DC as a DC resident and Utah, it's really not much of a difference, right? Really not much of a difference, right? You got one or two more states on the West Coast, but carrying a firearm across the country can be pretty useless, and especially if you're not going to any residential properties within the West Coast. It's not something that's generally going to be worth it for you. So, not to shit on your want to get a Utah concealed carry, but just to limit or keep some money in your pocket, I guess, right? Utah concealed carry is really great though. You get a concealed carry for 15 years, right? Or rather, you don't have to renew it for 15 years, I believe, right? I'm not a Utah instructor, but if you're interested in that, I know individuals that I can point you to. Draw Defense is really great. So, but yeah, that's this, everybody. I just wanted to give a rundown so you guys can get a more visual picture of where you can and can't carry in DC. A lot of places you see here that you can carry, some places you can't, and that's across the board, right? That's across the board. DC is just a unique city, just because or rather, Providence, because it's where a lot of our federal buildings are, being the capital of the United States, right? So take care, everybody. Again, my name is Jordan Beckford from B Tactical Defense, certified NRA instructor, certified DC and Maryland instructor. And if I missed anything here, feel free to light up the comments or share your information below. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask. Interested in any courses, visit btacticaldefense.com, and I'll be at your service. Thank you all. Enjoy your time, and first of many.